Today I'm going to be doing a video tutorial for you on how to weave geometric motifs on the Dewberry Ridge peg loom. And I'm Noreen Crone-Findlay. My website is Crone-Findlay.com. My blog is toddytalkscrafts.com. So you go to my website, hopefully, to buy some of the wonderful designs that I've made and to support me in doing all these video tutorials for you and your weaving. So let's get started weaving geometric motifs on the Dewberry Ridge. Beautiful, gorgeous, best ever peg loom. So here are the tools that you're going to need for weaving the sampler on the peg loom. I have this absolutely gorgeous peg loom from Dewberry Ridge Looms, Gary and Donnie McFarlane, and they built the looms in consultation with me. I had a number of requests that I was looking for in the perfect peg loom, and they went above and beyond the perfection. It's just the ultimate. So I'm going to be working with 5 of the thinnest weaving sticks, and but you can choose whichever size you want. Now I have the higher side of the loom towards the front where I'm working, so that the weaving it's ergonomically better to have it on a slant, and it's easier to see and easier to weave. You'll also need the threading tool that, again, from Dewberry Ridge. Absolutely gorgeous piece. You'll need a tape measure, and I use some of that non-skid fabric under the loom to keep it from scooting around on the table. And of course, yarn. So let's get started. I'm working on the Dewberry Ridge peg loom. This particular model has 3 lines of holes in it with for 3 different sizes of the weaving sticks. Today I'm working with the thinnest weaving sticks. I'm working with 5 of them, and I'm going to be doing some color work and showing you how I do that. When I cut my warp strands, I cut twice. I measure the length of warp a finished piece I want. Then I add a few inches, and then I double the whole thing because I'm going to be folding my warp strands in half. And the reason for that is because you want to have your warp strands. You can see how there's 2 strands of warp because the weaving stick is at the fold. You want to have 2 strands because that makes it easiest to advance the warp. You don't have an end pulling out of the weaving stick when you're advancing. I've done it. It's really stinks. Don't do that. And also you want to have thick enough warp that it's going to really fill your weft strands and make your weaving substantial and not kind of sleazy and I don't know, kind of thin and pathetic looking. Anyhow, take your yarn end through the hole on the weaving stick, then pick up the second end and tie quite a loose knot, an overhand knot. Don't make it tight because you're going to want to take this knot out eventually. So it's just really a very soft knot. Now pull on your warp strand to get to the fold of the warp, and then pop it in here. So I'm going to be working with doing some color work today. And so when you're doing color work, feel free to do things like blend different strands of yarn together. Why not combine colors or shades? I didn't have a thick enough combination of green, so I am going to put together a couple of skinny yarns to do some accent with. I'm going to be doing some pattern sections to show you some different ways of doing patterns with the pig loom. And so I want to have the bright green as a divider between each pattern section. When I start my new color, I start with a slip knot. And you make a slip knot by writing the letter E with your yarn, like this. And then taking the yarn from the ball behind, reaching through, pulling up and pulling on the loop, and there's your slip knot. Tug on it. You don't want it to be tight around the peg, because that makes advancing the yarn really hard, advancing the warp. So I always tend to pull the knot so that it's back behind. And like I say, don't pull it tight, because you will curse me if you do, because it's just too hard to move your yarn through. You can see I've gone in front, behind, and going from one side to the other will leave some of the sticks without yarn in front of them. So to go back, we go in front of the one that the yarn was behind before and behind the one it's in front of. And by going from your left to your right and your right to your left, we'll call that one row. I'm going to do maybe 3 rows of the green. How many is that? That's 1, 2. Okay. And I think I'm going to cut my green because I'm going to be doing some pattern sections, and I don't want to carry the green up the side of the loom while I'm weaving. So what I'll do is I'm going to stick my thumb out, take the yarn over, and I've made another letter E, and I pop that on in a very loose half hitch knot and pop that over the weaving stick, and then I'm going to snip. I'm going to leave a couple of inches for weaving in. And now I think I'll do a couple of stripes. Stripes are the easiest way of adding color to your work. You just weave in different colors for a few rows of each color. So let's add some black and white stripes here. Go back there, you little yarn end. Okay. Of course, the easiest way of working is to just work in one color, but if you want to have some pattern in your work, then you're going to need to learn how to change colors and to play with colors. And it's so much fun. So, why not? And I was chatting away like mad to you and didn't bother to count how many rows I did. So I'll just kind of guesstimate each time. Now my black yarn is thinner than my white yarn, so I'll do not as many rows with the white as I do with the black. And to add the white, I'm just going to do a simple little tie like that and push that to the end. And then, because afterwards I'm going to untie that and weave the ends in with the needle, the ends will go into the channel. So now I'm keeping the flow of the weaving. Even though I've changed colors, I'm going to just always be working with the yarn going behind, the empty behind or in front of the stick that's empty. So there I've got a black stripe, well, a green stripe, a black stripe, and a white stripe. So now I'm just going to carry the black up the edge, and to make a color join, I'm going to take the black around the white, drop the white yarn, and I'm going to hold on to the white to hold it horizontal, and then the black's going to go, because the way this row ended, the black goes in front. Once the row is in the works, I can drop the white. So I'll just do a few more passes with the black, and then I'll add some more white. So I think what I'll do is 3 black stripes and 2 white ones. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my white around. I'm going to hold my black horizontal now. I'm going to take my white through the, I've got a thread of something else there, a little random volunteer. I'm going to take the white through the space beside the loom and hold on to my black to hold that horizontal. Then I go across. Don't pull up tightly on your weaving sticks, because you'll see they do have a tendency to want to narrow in, and keep fanning them out. So I've got 1, 2, 3 down there, so so I only want to do 3 rows here too. And so I hold my white horizontal, I take my black over and through the loop, and hold my white horizontal while I begin my black row. So after this black row, black stripe, I'll add another divider row of green, and then we'll do some triangles. Okay, so I'm going to tie the green to the black, and weave a few shots of green, a few rows, just to give me a bit of a divider between my pattern sections. And I'm going to, again, like I did before, over my thumb, make that E and drop it down. Oh, it didn't work this time. Usually that works. Okay, give it a flip over was the missing component there. Okay, and now I'm going to snip the green. Now let's do some triangles. When you're doing triangles, that's done with a short row technique. Push my weaving down, compact it. Okay, I'm going to bring my navy blue or black back up, and I need to start with I'm going to give myself a wrap there. And I should probably show you exactly what I did when I did that wrap and drop it on. See, again, it's with your thumb, you make a loop and you go around and under. Okay, and now I'm going to do some black and white triangles. And there's 2 ways of doing the triangles. So we're going to start with what I call half triangles. So I'm going to do 3 rows with the black. Is that 3? 1, 2, 3. It's hard when I'm chatting away like mad to you. It's hard to keep things like counting happening. Okay, so I've done 3 rows on 5 sticks. Now I'm going to do 3 rows on 4 sticks. Two and 3. And now I'm going to do 3 rows on 3 sticks. So 1, 2, and 3. Now I'm going to do 3 rows on 2. 1, 2, 3. And now, with my last one, I'm just going to loosely wrap 1, 2 around, and then I'm going to do my little E trick so that the yarn goes under, just to hold it in place. Don't pull it tightly though, because that's going to, that will make it too hard to advance the warp if you pull really tightly on that. And as you can see, I've run out of yarn, but that's okay, I've got lots more. Now I'm going to bring my white up. That's going to be quite a long float of white up the side. I think what I'd rather do is snip that and weave in the ends afterwards, because a long float up the side could be just not that great. Okay, so I've got my slip knot with the white, and now I'm going to go 3 times around 1, 3 rows around 2, 3 rows around 3. Sorry if this looks really awkward. Because I've got the tripod between me and the loom, I'm weaving at an insanely awkward angle, and so it looks very klutzy and cumbersome, whereas really it normally flows very smoothly. Oh bother, this chunky yarn was too small. Oh well. Okay, so this triangle is going to have it's going to have an addition made. I'm going to have to tie on another piece. It's okay, I can weave in the ends later, but it's kind of like, fiddle. So, again, never tie your knots tightly, because you're going to want to undo them later and weave those little darlings in. Now, I'll just see if I can coax that to go to the back so it's easier to see. 1 more row of the white. So what we have here are 2 triangles. You can put a line of green there, or you can, and then repeat this, or you can reverse it with having the white now going up this way, and then building a blue triangle that would go this way and this way. This. So there's a lot of things you can do with this half triangle shape. Build full triangles or squares with it. How about I put a line of green on it and then advance, and then perhaps do another one that's identical to this, and then maybe put a line of green and do a flip so that we have the white going in the opposite direction. That's the thing, is that as you're working, you'll go, oh my gosh, I could do this, or I could do that. So I'm going to run a line of green here and lost a strand, and then show you how it looks if we repeat this same sequence exactly. And then I'll do a reverse so that you can see how it looks with the white triangles. I'll do a set of the full white and black triangles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the camera off. It's the camera, not the computer. Okay, I'm going to turn the camera off, and I'm going to repeat this sequence and weave another square with the diagonal line through the center. And then I'll be right back to you. Okay, so this is what happens when you repeat the half triangle pattern. You get a kind of sawtooth pattern, and quite pretty. So now what I'm going to do is do what I call the full triangle. And to do that, we will just get these guys back in here. We will, oops, sorry, just bumped the tripod. Okay, we'll start off with the same. Okay, I'm going to, okay, I think I'll cut this guy and start fresh over here. It's the same pattern as what I did in each of the previous squares for the first half of the full triangle. And so I can just zip along and do that. And I think what I'll do, since you've already seen me doing the first half, is I'll do that and come back when I've got the first half done. So I'll see you in the blink of it. Okay, so I've done the first half of the full triangles, and now I'm going to work the second half. And in order to have the second half, what I'm going to do is work short rows with the white, so that I'm going to angle the white up in this direction, and then I'll fill that gap with the navy blue. So we work the 3 rows on 4 sticks with the white from left to right, then 3 on 3, and now 2 sticks for 3 rows, and then 2 wraps and 1 E. And now, so there's our full white triangle. And now we're going to start, I'm going to do an E on the furthest right hand side, and 2 wraps to bring me up to 3 rows, and work my short rows across in the black. Do I need one more? No. Okay, and so what I will need to do is, I suspect I'm going to need to advance my warp in order to finish the full pattern. Okay, so I've got half of the blue triangle done, and now I will work short rows in the other direction to finish the full black triangle. It's kind of navy blue. I combined my yarns last night and spun in the evening, which can sometimes, you'll think you're spinning black, and it turns out you've got a whole lot of navy blue in there. Oops. Oh well. Okay, getting close to having my navy blue or black full. There's my navy blue one finished. So what I'm going to do is now do another full white triangle, and then a half blue, and that will give me 2 whites and with 1 blue in between. Or I suppose I could work, you know, several, a sequence of several. That's what I'll do, is I'll work a bunch of full triangles and then come back to you. Or, there's something else I want to show you too, and I'm just looking to make sure I have enough warp to do that. Okay, well, I'm just going to play around here a bit, and then I'll edit back in. So what I decided to do was to just leave it with 1 full white triangle, 1 full black triangle, and 1 half black and 1 half white. And I am going to now show you how to do a little diamond in the middle. So I'm going to advance my warp, and then we'll play with a different pattern. Now that we have the 2 triangles that go from edge to edge done, the full size triangles, these are the half size triangles, how about if we do a square in the middle? And the way that you do a square in the middle is, just make sure I've got those all tapped in, is to start with your 1 color at the side. I'm just making a slip knot. And what we're going to do is we'll take the white, we'll do a full row of white across all the way. So there's 1. But now I'm just going to work a couple of short rows on this side, and then I'll add another row, another ball of white, and work some short rows on this side, and then I'll build up a diamond in the black in the center. So I'm going to do 3 rows on 2 pegs, and then I'll just do 1, 2 wraps and a half hitch. There we go, with the white on this side, and I'm going to repeat that on the other side. So I'm doing my second slip knot, popping this down, and so now I do 3 rows on the right hand 2 pegs, and then 2 wraps and a half hitch. And now we start the square in the middle with the blue. So I've done my slip knot, I'll pop it down onto there, and I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to take it now to the left hand peg, center peg, and do 3 rows on 3, 1, 2, and 3, and now I'll go all the way across and do 3 rows on all 5. If you want to extend the diamond to make it a bit taller, you can add an extra row or 2. I might do that just to add a bit more height to the diamond. And now what I'm going to do is 3 rows on 3, 2 and 3, and now I'll do 2 wraps and a half hitch, and my center diamond is complete. So what I want to do next then is 3 wraps on 1, 2 sticks with 3 rows, and then I'm just going to half hitch and park this one. Okay, so now 3 wraps on the left-hand side, and then 3 rows on 2, and now I'm going to go all the way across for 1 row, or maybe even 2. So there you have it, your diamond in the middle. And so what I'll do is I will do a green row and come back to you, and we'll do some fun squares. So next, I've advanced the diamond in the middle pattern, and next what we're going to do is some checkerboards. So I'm just going to pop those on there. I'll do a row of the green, well, a couple rows of the green divider yarn, and then we'll do black and white squares. Now what we're going to do is an interlocking square. I'll tie that off afterwards. So we're going to, I've already got white coming off of the left hand side. I'm going to join the black at the right hand side, and what I'm going to do is do 1, 2, 3 sticks with the white for 1 row, and 1, 2 sticks. Whoops, got a snaggy bit there. 2 sticks with the black for 1 row. Then I'm going to do 1 row of, I'm going to need to trim that little center there. I'm going to do 1 row of the black that goes over 3, and 1 row of the white that just goes over 2. And now I'm going to do 3 rows, 1 row of white over 3. And you can see what I'm doing is I'm alternating which one goes to the center peg for each row, so that that center row will have a little set of stripes, but the sides will have the solid color. And then what we're going to do is we will, what's up, puppy? We will eventually, when we decide our squares are tall enough, then we will switch and have the black on this side and the white on this side to be building the checkerboard. So this way, if you just did your square up on 2 or on 3 and left a gap between, you'd have to sew it up afterwards. But that is certainly an option. That's easy enough to do if you prefer to do that. Otherwise, you get one channel of weaving that has hachure on it, which is blended work. Okay, since I've run out of white on that side, what I'm going to do is I am now going to take my black all the way across. I'm not going to complete the row by going back to this side. What I'm going to do is move my black ball of yarn over to this side and join a ball of white on the right hand side, so that we then, that's how we get the checkerboard, is by switching which side gets the white and which side has the black. So we'll carry on in exactly the same way, with one row going to the center while the other one waits its turn to go to the center. Now, everything that I'm showing you, I feel free to experiment and try different ways of doing it, because that's how you'll make your work uniquely your own. So I'm going to turn off the camera and weave some more checkerboards. And you can make all your squares the same size, or you can do them, small, big, whatever. If you don't want this set of squares to be the same size as that one, no problem. And of course, as I said before, this is a motif you can work all the way across the loom. But you would set up then, you'd have a hachure stick or a blending stick between each of the sets of squares across the loom. Okay, so I'm going to just turn it off and do some more weaving. Okay, I'm just going to show you the checkerboard is advanced. Ta-da! And now I'm going to show you how to do a finer checkerboard that, move this over a bit so it's more centered on the camera, a finer checkerboard that you can use to either make vertical lines or stripes, or offset and make little wee checkerboards. So what you do is tie both colors on at the left hand side of the loom. Okay, then take your black and go across to the right hand side. Take your ball of yarn and move it to the right hand side. Take your white and it goes across, going in front of the weaving sticks that were that the black went behind, and vice versa, and behind the ones the black was in front of. Now take your black and hold on to your white, and your black follows the same path exactly that it did when it went from left to right. It's going to follow exactly the same path that it did going from right to left. Same thing with your white. Okay? And now hold on to your white and pick up your black, and it's going to cross over it goes over top of the white and goes across I'm going to lift it across, and the white now follows its path. And you see what's happening? You're getting black lines and white lines, black, white, black. And isn't that easy? But it is that little trick of making sure you cross them at the edge so that you can make your threads they always follow, each color always follows its own path and doesn't cross and become the other color until you decide, we have enough. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have enough of this line going up. We're going to make a checkerboard. So now this time the white one goes across first, and it is now following the path that the black threads did before. Whoops, I'm going to undo that because I need to take the black thread around. And now the white thread goes in My husband just let the dog back in. She got sent out of the studio in disgrace because she made me restart like 4 times. So she better be good. Okay, so now this time the black is following the path that the white one did. And so we're going to, again, you hold the thread so that when they start back on their journey back, the threads won't unravel at the edge. So again, I'm going to hold my black and take my white across. And look, we are getting small checkerboards. Is this cool or not? Yes, it is cool. All right. So how about I weave some checkerboards and come back to you when I have filled the weaving sticks with little black and white checks. Pretty neat, eh? So there's the small checkerboards. I'm thinking I should probably do a set of just the vertical lines with not doing the color changes every 4 rows, so that you'll see what the vertical lines look like by doing this technique of the 2 strands at a time, or well, not at a time, but you know, one and then the other to finish the row. Okay, I will come back when I've done some straight lines. Now, remember what I do is I take my one color across, move the ball across, then the other ball goes to the other side and it fills in to complete the row rather than working back and forth. A full row is worked from one side to the other by using 2 balls of yarn. Then to make the join, I take the one color under the other. Don't take it on top because you get too big of a bump. And then it goes back. Move the ball back. And the other color is followed, and the one color goes under the other, and then it works its way across. Okay, so I'm just going to keep working with not changing the which one leads off first, not switching out the black and white. I'm just going to keep working this way so I get my straight lines going vertically, my vertical stripes. I'll do that and then I will come back. And there we go. Black and white stripes. Now on the back side, the stripes are, we've got 2 black on the front and 3 white. When I turn it around, you'll see there are 3 black and 2 white. Pretty nifty, hey? Okay, I'm going to advance the warp. Okay, so the vertical lines are now advanced down the warp. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to triangles. This time what we're going to do is a mountain-shaped triangle. Remember how we brought the triangles off of the vertical sides? Now we're going to bring the triangles off of the horizontal and build them up from the horizontal. So what I'm going to do is start with the black, and I'm going to lay in all 5 sticks, and I will do 3 rows of the black. I've done 2, so 1 more. 3 rows of black on all 5 sticks. Maybe I'll even sneak in one more row. So we'll do 4. Okay, and now 4 rows on 3 sticks. And for the top of the triangle, now we'll do 4 wraps. And just as we did before when we were doing the other short row geometric shapes, what we'll do is we will fill in the other spaces. Because the white is much thicker than the black, I'm only going to do 3 passes with it. 3 rows, what I mean. So we're now across to this side. And on this side, I'm going to grab another ball of white, a smaller one, and I'm going to fill in this space here. And there's a couple of directions you can go with this design-wise. You can then stop it with just this point of the triangle here, or you can we can do short rows out to the sides with the white and build an inverted triangle with the black, and that will give us an hourglass shape. So maybe let's do that. So there, now you can really see the triangle. And I'm going to take this white just across, just for one row across, and to kind of close the door on the blue, the navy blue or black mountain triangle. And now what we'll do is 2 sticks on each side with 3 rows on them, and then 3 wraps on a single stick. So, and then that will give us the inverted triangle that will fill in with the blue. And remember, the blue is thinner, or black, navy. So it's thinner. So I'm doing 4 rows on each set of sticks with the black or navy blue. And you can see how this is building the other half of the mountain shape, only now it's inverted, or I guess it'll be the top half of our hourglass shape. And now I'll scoot to the outside, and because I didn't do a half hitch knot on the white, I'm going to take my black under it just to bring it up, and I'll hold on to the white here, there, and that'll lock it. And I'm going to go all the way across the other side. I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to take my black under my white and then hold on to my white just to make that secure. And that there, I've locked the white in place. And now we'll finish off our 5 rows, and we've built an hourglass shape. So there we go. An hourglass. And of course I will finish that off. I'll top it off with some green. You know, I started the sampler with fairly wide horizontal stripes. Here they are. And I just realized, gosh, I should have shown you how a single row of each color looks in horizontal stripes. And if you want to do horizontal stripes with just little dots of color, the way that you do that is let's weave. I've got one row of black here. Let's weave one more row of black. And now I'm just going to take the white and go across for half of a row. And so I'm not going to finish the row with the white. I'm going to finish it with the black. And then I'll do 2 rows of the black. And then I will do half a row with the white and 2 rows or 3 rows if you want with the black. And see how you just get dots of color that way? It's kind of fun, isn't it? Okay, I'm going to finish up with my weaving, and I'm pretty close to the end of this warp now. So what I'll do is I'll finish weaving to the end of the warp, and then I'm going to show you some finishing techniques. Now, with all of the various geometric techniques that we've gone through, you're going to have a pretty good design palette. You've got wide horizontal stripes, a sawtooth edge by using half triangles, full triangles. Whoops, this one is kind of, you can see it's not advanced properly. Full triangles with the triangles coming from the vertical edge. Then the diamond in the middle. Move that out of the way. Of course, one of the things I'm going to show you how to do, it's kind of all wonky because it's not advanced properly. One of the things I'm going to show you how to do is how I use the threading tool to weave in my ends. Then we did the big checkerboard, small checks, horizontal, vertical lines, and the hourglass with the mountain and the valley, and then narrow horizontal rows and spots. So I'm going to finish off this, weaving this narrow band off, and then I'll show you how to do some finishing techniques. Okay, I have finished weaving the sampler, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to snip. Well, actually here, I'll run past you what I've done. Okay, I finished up with 2 more triangles, the full-size triangles. This time I started with the black on the left side and the white on the right side. And this was the narrow bands, narrow horizontal bands with some spots, the hourglass, vertical narrow lines, small checks, larger checks, diamond in the middle, more large triangles, sawtooth that you get with the half triangles, and wider horizontal bands. Okay, so what I'll do now is I'm going to snip the, there we go, just snipping off the warp ends at the fold, and then what I'll do is I'm going to tie, I'm going to take one of the warp strands from the first channel, I'll leave one loose, and then take one from the second channel and tie a knot with them, left over right and under, right over left and under. Oh, and by the way, when you're finished your weaving, you'll be smoothing it out to make sure it reaches the right dimensions and that parts of it aren't all scooched up. And the way that you do that, see how I'm taking one strand from each channel and tying them off so that the warp is secure now and your weft isn't going to pop off. So anyhow, when you have finished your weaving, put your weaving on your lap, on your thigh, and there we go. And then what you can do is take and just tighten the knots up across, and do that at the other end as well. Okay, there. And then tie at the outside edges, tie another knot just to secure the outside edges. Anyhow, when you take your weaving off your loom, smack it down on your thigh and then start scooching and smoothing so that the weaving all lays flat and the patterns are arranged in a pleasing way, that so that everything lies flat and your patterns aren't all smooshed up. So I'm not going to bother tying this one off right now, what I want, because I want to show you how we go about weaving in our ends. There's, as you see, there's a ton of ends where I've tied off my colors. First of all, I'll just start here. You can start anywhere because it just really doesn't matter. You're going to untie a knot that's there, and then you're going to take the wonderful threading tool, there you can see it better, and you're going to slip it into the channel and bring it out, bunch up the weaving on it, and then pass the threads into the space and pull them through, and then don't pull them too far in, and then you simply slip them up inside the channel, and you can repeat that so that the ends are completely buried inside. Or if you have a really super long thread, then it's okay to trim it off. There we go, and then just snooch it all in. And I'm going to take this end into the second channel over. See, I just bring the threading tool out, put the end in. I don't put the end very far into the threading tool. Take it in, again, go back through, thread it in, pull it through the weaving. And so I'm going to go through the entire piece of weaving and weave in all my ends. That's when it's great to have a wonderful DVD or a book on CD to be listening to, or a lovely podcast to be listening to. It's kind of contemplative and meditative. It might drive some people nuts, but weavers like detail. So there you go. So that's what you do with all your little ends. When the ends are nigh, you just tuck them in. So tie off your ends, your warp ends, and then weave in the weft ends. Now, if you had wanted, this is going to be a bag handle. So I will be stitching over these ends with a sewing machine to secure them even more. And then they're going to be hidden by another woven piece. So that's how I'm going to be finishing this one. If this was going to be like a wall hanging that I wanted a decorative fringe on, I would have made the warp that much longer. So I'm just going to go do that, and then I'll be back with the finished piece. So here is the finished sampler with all the ends woven in. And here we have the 2 large triangles, some horizontal lines, some random spots, more horizontal lines, the hourglass, vertical lines, which of course right now are horizontal, small black and white checks, larger checkerboard, diamond in the middle here, and more of the large triangles, sawtooth with the half triangle size, and wider horizontal. Of course, horizontal is this way. So this is, we began here, worked our way up, and finished here. So now that you've got all of these geometric pattern techniques for weaving with the peg loom, you can design some magical, marvelous, and wonderful things. Happy weaving!